Ladies and gentlemen, we are at the precipice of an incredibly important time in America. My name is Aaron Arnold. This is Austin Arnold. Below me is Johnny Ray Diaz. And this podcast today is going to be all about what matters to us most. By the time you see this, you will already have gotten your chance to cast your ballot. Biden, Trump, Kanye, or somebody else. Now,
Rocky.
We could be on the precipice of a contested election. Maybe we never know who it is. Maybe there's riots in the streets of Los Angeles. If Trump wins another 4 years, these liberals don't like that. Maybe there's riots in the streets by, if the other one wins. Maybe Kanye is going to win. This episode couldn't be any more relevant because we're going to talk about it. This is stuff that people don't even say in their living rooms, and they're definitely not talking about this on TV. We're talking about everything Trump, Biden, and Kanye oriented on this pod. Austin, please explain more.
And I know everybody out there subscribes for the actor's take and the actor's point of view on our industry. I don't know about in New York or other parts of the country, but in Los Angeles, this is what people are talking about. So for this episode, I'm going to go through issue by issue. They don't know which side the candidates fall. And Aaron and Johnny are going to decide if they're for it or against it. And I'll tell them which candidate they will be voting for. Whatever issues they support the most, they have to vote for that candidate tomorrow. Is that clear?
Wow, that's a lot of pressure.
Well,
that's a big ask, man.
Don't you want to vote for a candidate of the issues you support the most?
I mean, I'm actually concerned for Aaron because, look at the room he's in. My God. Do you believe in light, my friend?
Well, that big light that we usually use that you brought over, actually the power cord broke, so.
He's definitely dark times, Aaron. Come on.
Johnny, you talk about issues. My issue is, what if we have to deal with Jim Carrey playing Biden 4 years? Can they give it up to a cast member? I want to see Beck Bennett do something before he takes off for a stellar movie career. Anyways, don't get me started on that. Let's get to it.
Let's avoid that entirely, man. Let's hear it. Let's hear it, Austin.
Okay. In no particular order, these are just the issues I have in front of me. Would you support reopening schools amid the pandemic? Are you for or against?
Those schools need to be open. I'll say it here. We need to get this economy back open. It's not a right thing. It's not a left thing. What's the worst case?
Everybody dies.
Or is the worst case a generation who doesn't know how to read or write?
So Aaron's for it. Johnny, are you for or against reopening the schools in the
All right, well, here's what the question that's constantly posed to, Republicans. Well, they say, the death rate is like 2% or something like that of people that have COVID, right? So you're okay with if we lose 1 or 2 kids a day, Are you okay with that? Are you saying you're okay with that? Are you saying you're okay with that, Aaron?
1 death is too many, of course. All I'm saying is reading, writing, and arithmetic. China's already beating us in almost every category. We're falling behind it. America's going to have to get used to, instead of growing year after year, now I guess we're not. We're going to have to reckon with this someday. Well, full disclosure, I don't have any kids.
Aaron, are you playing a role right now? Or is this what you really believe? Are you playing a role?
Generally speaking, I think we should reopen.
Okay. I think that I'm okay with a hybrid version of it. Partly open, partly online. I think it should be the option of the parents. It's their decision. I don't think the school should be like, hey guys, we are all open. You are now required to come to school. If you don't feel that it's safe for your kid to go to school, even though they're telling you it's open, then you should have the option to do it online.
And all those teachers saying I feel for them. I got to go to school with all these sick kids. What if something happens? Now I'm an essential worker. Well, I've been going to the same Whole Foods for the last 6 months with all those essential workers. Not one of them has ever missed a day. As far as
you noticed, different bag boy every time. Where is he? Didn't make it.
Listen, this isn't the issue for me. Austin, what do you think? Maybe we should move on to the next issue.
Okay, well, you'll be surprised to know that both can, while hybrid answers for some of the other ones are good, some of them it said maybes as their answer, both are in a yes support of reopening schools during the pandemic. Just so you know, you thought it was a Republican Democrat thing. Both are in support. Trump full on. Biden says yes, based on local conditions.
They're both Republicans. I mean, Biden could run as a moderate Republican any other year, and I bet half of Los Angeles would flip on him. You know,
doesn't Trump always say he's a socialist?
Yeah, saying Biden's a socialist is just
Biden's a socialist.
Is just
right. That's what I'm saying.
It's interesting branding, but it's just inaccurate.
Right.
Hey, we got 10 of these questions. Here's number 2. Would you
60-second lightning round?
Are you
one of those?
Are you for or no? I like the discussion, but just FYI, are you for or against raising the federal minimum wage to $15 per hour? Go.
You know, I often find myself thinking, I want universal health care. I want a higher minimum wage. I want all that stuff, but I want as little government as possible. So, you know, something needs to be hashed out there. Yeah, I say let's do it 15. I say yeah, let's do it. Let's raise it to 15.
John?
Yeah, I think that sounds good. I mean, $15 in some places is not a lot of money. In other places, it's a lot of money. You know, so obviously the money's got to come from somewhere, of course, right? But I think it's time. I think we've been what is it like 10? Is Los Angeles like 10?
That's like 11 or something.
11. I haven't had a job in a long time, so I don't know.
But like you said, the money's got to come from somewhere. The Federal Reserve for stimulus printed trillions, literally multi-trillions this year.
I mean, we're never going to get out of debt, so
yeah, I got 1,200 at the beginning, but as far as the other 99% of the trillions, I mean, the corporations already got bailed out with socialism. Give a little to me.
Well, you guys would have both voted for Biden in that circumstance. He is for that. Trump has remained unclear. He will not give an answer.
I thought he said that it would be based on every state would have a different.
But I was talking about federal.
Oh, yes, federal only. Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. Johnny, you may relate to this a little more, maybe not. I don't know. Do you support the United States-Mexico-Canada trade deal? That's a dumb one. Let me go on. I panicked and I wanted to.
Okay.
You know how Johnny's always up on everything you could associate with Mexicans. Johnny
any foreign policy south of the border, man, just hit me with it.
Exactly. Okay. Hey, do you, yes or no, support reparations to descendants of enslaved people? Are you for reparations?
Well, let me hear a plan.
Yeah, there's got to be something. I mean, because if you just give me a broad stroke, are you in support? Yeah, sure, why not, right? I mean, we did it for we've done it for Native Americans, right? So it only seems like a fair thing to do. But what's the plan? I agree.
So in that situation, you would have both voted for Biden because his response is, "We will study it." Trump just says flat out no. You guys are both Biden supporters. Interesting.
I mean, I would be for it. If I heard an interesting plan, I think
Biden.
You can't just give money to, every black person gets a check, because then what do you do with people who are 10% black? What do you do with black people who aren't from descendants of slaves?
That's why, just on a broad stroke, when you ask that question, do you believe in reparations for people for their ancestors that had slavery? It's well, yeah, that sounds like a good thing, but I need more information.
So you guys would have both voted for Biden in that case because he wants to study it. Hey, do you support defunding the police? We're in our criminal justice section. Yes or no, defund the police?
I'm going to say I don't support it. I do think the police, they got problems. They need better training. The money we have going to them now needs to be reallocated. But let me just say, those communities that suffer the most from, what people say, criminal profiling, let's just use Chicago or something, or New York. Those places need more police, in my opinion. That's the only way to solve that. But then police are trained awfully.
But isn't that the whole problem? Isn't that you're not really getting to the root of the problem? You're just kind of adding a Band-Aid to the problem. In those areas that have more crime rates, isn't it more a product of possibly systemic racism and the whole system that they're trapped in? And by adding more police, you're just sort of compounding it.
I agree. It's there's a definite problem that needs to be fixed, but I don't think the answer is less police. I think we need to reallocate the funding that's already there and really they need better training. That's the thing. Body cams for everybody, better training, hold the ones that do something wrong, accountable. And sometimes you're going to have police who shoots an innocent guy, and the court's going to deem it as he's not going to go to jail because he's just acting in the line of duty. And they're trying their best, but yeah, I think I've been clear, right?
I think for me, it's a combination of what you're saying. I think that yes, like I think the problem is the phrase defund the police. I don't think is the proper term to use. I like the word you use, reallocate. So how about a reallocation of police funding is what I would say is the better phrase to use. So you can put that into better education, financial literacy for communities, better training for police officers in different situations, de-escalation, things like that, more mental health services for individuals. But I also think the idea of defunding the police, which again, I think it's a bad term that they use to allocate toward it, because it has a negative connotation when you hear it that way. Like, oh my God, like if there's not enough police, what do we do? But I think it's just having other groups or organizations that take on responsibilities that the police don't necessarily have to deal with all the time. So like if it's a person dealing with mental health issues, instead of sending cops out to handle the situation, maybe there's a psychologist or somebody that goes out there to assess the situation, as opposed to automatically, because that's the problem, right? You have somebody that is not all there, and what happens is the police respond with violence, right? And then that's where all these problems start to kind of happen, right? So if we can kind of have other organizations to take off the load from the police, I think that that's where we should be looking at. Alternative methods, basically.
Both candidates are against defunding the police. Guys, we have done 4. I have 3 left. I want to take a little break now and find out about you. So we're in the halfway point.
Oh, thank God.
How's your week going, Johnny? What have you been doing?
I'm in Arizona. Oh, we're still on? I thought we stopped recording for this section.
Nah.
Why are you in Arizona?
I want you to act like we have, though.
Oh my God. I'm just here because I just wanted to get out of town.
Johnny's out of town because if Trump wins,
civil unrest, my friends.
LA is going to go freaking crazy, and Johnny's back in Republican Arizona, where it'll be safe.
Look, what's funny is like literally driving in here it's such a reminder of this town.
Is that bad?
No, I mean, it's just, hey man, you're entitled to your own view, but like I don't think I've ever seen so many Trump signs on my way in than I've ever seen for any other candidate ever in my life.
I mean, I think we live in a bubble in Los Angeles because we're from Ohio. We get the same stuff. Ohio's a swing state. It's went Republican the last couple of elections. But like half the country, at 40% to half the country are Trump supporters. So it's just in Los Angeles, if you even say Trump does one good thing, you, Johnny, are a racist piece of shit. But
although I was at Crossroads just Saturday, the thrift store in LA, right in Studio City. What do you know? I'm standing right in front of the store. Boom! A little Trump car parade driving through the street, flags waving, people honking, and I was like, "Whoa!" In LA, man.
That must have been filming.
They must have been
filming. I don't know, but it was a little support going on over there, and I was like, "Hey, man, you know what? More power to them because you're allowed to do what you want to do, right? That's the beauty of this country." But I was surprised. I'm not going to say. I was really surprised.
Here's my problem with Los Angeles. There's plenty of things to critique Trump on, but like people who just paint it as 100% evil, does nothing good, that's living in the Los Angeles bubble. I mean,
Well, LA is like you said, LA is its own bubble. But my
Austin,
question
how are
to
you
you,
doing? Oh.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to ask,
Austin?
Johnny, who's your dad voting for?
My dad already voted, and that's confidential, my friend.
He's a Trumper.
No, he's not.
Get him.
Actually, my dad voted for Biden, but I will have you guys know that there are family members that did vote for Trump.
That's fine. That's no big deal. We all got family who voted for Trump.
Just saying. So anybody that wants to crucify me out there, please.
Only in Los Angeles is like that. You got to say, I do have a family member voting for Trump, and in the rest of the country, it's.
But don't hate me.
Yeah,
I didn't do it.
Are there auditions for you guys in this last week, Johnny?
I got put on a veil.
Oh yeah, you Instagram
for a commercial.
For what?
I can't say, guys.
Type it in the chat.
Let's just say it's a popular video game. How about that?
Are you going to be working with our other guest we had on the pod, who's now doing
Al Cornell?
Yeah, exactly.
No, dude, I wish. That game is even bigger than the other ones. But that's it, guys. Nothing else.
Oh, dude, shit,
That's
dude. Okay.
Huge.
It's me. I won't give the hint. It's
what
for the video game. It's me, Mario. But I won't finish it. I don't want the audience to know the game.
All right. Anyway, funny story about that. Can I just explain real quick this real fast, this audition? So I went into audition for this commercial video game. It was for a host of the video game, right? So it was very much in the vein of like Dollar Shave Club guy. And so you were put in these like really awkward scenarios where, like, for example, one scenario was you were inside of a gym and this guy was working out, and then you're delivering all your lines to camera. And so you're like kind of saying something like, well, you could try your, that free try out the gym isn't going too well, right? Would you rather be watching some dude sweat all over a machine, or would you rather be playing this game, right? And then he's in a locker room. He's like, would you rather look at old naked dudes, or are we playing this game, right? So it's kind of like that sort of vein of what it was. I loved it. Was a ton of dialogue. I loved it. All right. I'm going to say I thought I killed the audition.
Who's the casting?
Huh?
Who's the casting director?
Dan Bell. I went in, it was in person. I did one take because they had 3 scenarios. They let you pick 2. And the dialogue was pretty lengthy. I did one take of each scene or scenario, and I ad-libbed a bunch of lines, right? And the dude was like, yeah, that was perfect. I don't even need you to do it again. Like, you got it. You know what I mean? So I was like, cool. I got a call back for a completely different role that had absolutely nothing to do with that role. And the funny part about it is that this callback, the role said that the character needed to wear a knight costume. Medieval times, yeah?
Okay.
And he had long blonde hair, blue eyes, and looks like Orlando Bloom.
So basically Heath Ledger.
And I thought it was a mistake that I got this, right? And I show up to the audition, first of all, or the callback. First of all, who has a knight costume, right?
Yeah.
I clearly don't have one. I showed up in regular clothes. Everybody there, it looked like the Renaissance Festival, basically. Like everybody there had like swords and knight and like armor and stuff. I'm like, what? And they all had long hair. I was like, why am I even here?
How did you think those takes went? Like when you gave the acting? Do you think you did good?
Well, the thing is, I didn't know what I was doing because it was a different role. But when I went into the room, they had the director on Zoom or something. I never saw him. I just heard him. And he's like, all right, this is what's going to happen. You're going to be polishing your sword. And all of a sudden you notice this girl looking at you, and then you're just going to blow her a kiss. That's it. No dialogue. And I was like, really? Okay.
And you're on a veil for that.
Yeah. I just think it's funny because like, it's proof that like half the time this shit doesn't even matter. You know what I mean? Like I didn't have long hair. I don't have blue eyes. All those dudes that were there, I didn't look anything like them. And I don't know, man. I just did something in the room apparently because like I said, hey, can I just do like a series or something? Cause like, and he's like, yeah, I'll just do a couple things or whatever. And I was like, can I just try different stuff? And he's like, yeah. I don't know. I did something at the end and he started laughing a lot. And then he's like, yeah, that was good. And then I just left.
Sounds like your state, your presence. You went in there. Hey, is it cool if I do a series? Sounds like you kind of owned the room of.
Well, it was just kind of silly. You know what I mean? Right? A little bit.
Could you show us how you blew the kiss?
No. Anyway,
Johnny,
back to the topic.
Please, why won't you show us?
Hey, welcome back to Surviving Hollywood, guys. If you're just joining us right now, we're actually in the middle of a heated debate. Aaron?
Biden, Trump.
Okay, guys, I have 3 more. Honestly, I think the conversation's way more compelling when we were in the break. But these are just
a little bit.
But
these
actually,
I want to hear what Austin has to think about these next couple.
Okay, fine.
Because we haven't heard from you.
Well, I know which candidate's doing it, but yeah, you're right. And these are just to get the conversation flowing. So 3 more. Do you support voter ID laws which require voters to show identification at the polls? Seems reasonable.
Yeah, sure. Not? Yeah, everybody can get an ID.
You guys are big Trumpers.
I don't really see a problem with it. I mean, like, what's the big deal for showing your ID?
Yeah.
I mean, you show your ID when you grab a beer.
Yeah, it's not even like driver's license, because you go to the same spot to get it, but you don't have to be a driver. You just go to the same thing and get the ID.
Well, why do Democrats think that you shouldn't need to do that?
You have to ask Democrats.
Johnny, can you get your dad in here?
He's not a Democrat.
Independent. Okay.
We're all independents in this room.
Hey, I mean, these are, do you support the statehood of Washington, D.C.?
Oh, for Washington, D.C. to become a state?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't really know. I mean,
or do you not give an F?
That would be a blue state then, right?
Probably.
Yes, it would.
I actually never had even heard of this. Is this like I'm sure this isn't the first time, right?
Biden wants to make it happen. I don't know when it came up, but Biden wants to make it happen.
What's the reason why?
In a direct quote, here's Biden's exact words: "You should be a state," Biden said at a press conference.
Come on, man.
With the DC mayor. And Trump says it's very, very stupid to allow Deep Blue City to become a state and elect 2 more people to the Senate.
Yeah, Trump's just going like, it's stupid because it's going to be a Democratic state.
He's like, you know how much paperwork that's going to be on me? Oh,
yeah.
I'm not doing it. I don't know. I have no idea because I don't know anything about that. So
yeah, I feel like it probably would have became a state already if it wasn't so partisan, and probably Republicans don't want to make it a state because then that's going to lean left, and probably a similar situation for Puerto Rico.
I mean, where can politicians hang out without fear of like, oh my God, this is a blue state, right?
And the last question, yes, Johnny, yes. The last question is, do you support the elimination of the electoral college? Probably something that's talked about every 4 years. What do you think?
I think Democrats want to abolish it, and conservators want to keep it. I mean, it's just interesting that in the last few elections, the popular vote has been different from the electoral college. So, I think because everybody can get their message across on TV now and the internet, I say, yeah, let's abolish it. Because the situation is, in the past, candidates would only go to California, Texas, and New York, because those are, or Pennsylvania or whatever, those are the majority for the electoral college. But now
states that matter.
But now that, everybody is seeing the same thing on the internet, I say, yeah, maybe.
No. But the issue is, if they abolish it, then the new swing states become the cities with the most populations, because they can do so more. If they campaign only in California and Texas and New York, they can reach so many more people. So those would become the new swing states, and they would control the voting power of the nation. That's why we have the electoral college.
Oh, okay. So if they wasn't around, so let's say you took California, Texas, and Florida, you pretty much.
Exactly. Those would be the new swing states, so to speak. And that's why the electoral college was invented, to keep the bigger states from running the smaller states.
Well, I don't know if enough about the electoral college to completely give a full opinion on it. However, as you guys have listened to, Kanye was talking about the Electoral College on Joe Rogan recently. And now somebody has to fact check this because I honestly haven't looked and I have no idea. But he did say that the Electoral College was actually started by Democrats because it was during the Civil War, right? Because Democrats in the North said that we will count black people as 3/5 of a man. And that was a way for them to sort of get their vote, essentially, right? I don't know if that's actually true. Because if it is what it is, then I would say that this whole thing is really rooted and based in slavery. You know what I mean? So it is probably antiquated, I would say. Maybe it needs to be updated. I don't know. I don't know enough. I'm just going based off of what he was saying, but could be completely off.
Let's get universal health care, then we'll worry about the Electoral College. Or do we need to get Electoral College to get the universal health care? Hell if I know.
Austin?
How many fifths of a vote do you guys think black people should have?
Austin?
Oh, obvious joke right there.
Electoral College?
I mean, I think you got to keep it because I think the thing Kanye was, hey, buddy. I think the thing Kanye was saying, I don't think it was because of slavery. I think the nations, the parties, gave black people 3/5, and that was a mistake. Now they're all equal, but now that everybody's equal, I just know the bigger states would control things. So because I don't know enough, I'm just saying, yeah, I guess we can keep it the same.
Sometimes bigger states control smaller states. So
my favorite part of when Kanye was on Joe Rogan, and at the top of the podcast, Joe Rogan was like, "You're running for president. Obviously, I want to talk to you about the issues like this, like foreign policy." And then Kanye West says right away, "Man, everybody's always asking me about foreign policy."
Yeah, it's like, yeah, you would think they would.
Yeah, can they just not ask me about the foreign policy?
Everyone has to ask me about the issues all the time, man. I'm just running for president, all right? Just let me do it. I want to hear what you guys thought about the interview, but I finished it today. I thought it was fascinating. I was so interested every time, and I don't think I've ever listened to a Rogan podcast where Rogan was so quiet.
True.
He just sat back and just Kanye would just like riff like 10 different, he'd go on like 10 different tangents about all these different things, right? And then somehow it'd always come back to him. And then Rogan would just be like, man, that's a symphony. You know what I mean? Like they kept saying, like, he's like, every time I speak, it's a symphony.
Yeah, right? rather than a rant. It's like Kanye, no. Kanye ranting is him giving us some more art. It's a symphony.
But yeah, he never really, toward the end, he kind of answered some of the questions, but like, it was funny because like Rogan would like be like, all right, man, that was a great symphony. Now I have some specific questions for you that are important to me. What are you going to do about student debt?
And Kanye didn't mind taking 20 seconds of silence, dead air, just trying to think about it.
It
was great, dude. Incredibly fascinating. That's why as soon as I watched it and I texted it all to you guys saying you got to watch it, just because Kanye is an individual. I do think he is a genius musician and producer. I think he changed the game in music. I'll say it again. Without Kanye, there'd be no Drake as we know it. Without Kanye, there'd be no rappers as we know it today.
Without any of the first generation, there'd be no second generation.
Yeah, well, we can get more into it, but this ain't how Kanye changed music episode.
It's not?
Hey, for this week, as actors, what are we all doing to further our careers?
Vote Biden!
Don't tell people what to do.
The mainstream media is doing it. Biden good, Kamala good, Orange Man bad.
Hey, everybody, who are we voting for? Aaron, who are you voting for?
Or did you already vote? I already voted, so.
I'll probably, even though I've antagonized some guests on this pod going, why would I vote for Biden? He sucks.
You look like a Kanye guy to me.
I'll probably give Biden a vote, even though he sucks. But I don't like either Biden or Trump, and I think Biden's going to have the same corporate liberal policies that, we're used to with the types of Hillarys and Obamas. Even though Trump ran as a populist, he kind of served as just a standard Republican, except way more divisive. So, whatever. I'll probably vote for Biden though.
How do you feel about Mike Pence?
I mean,
Kamala. How do you feel about Kamala? Thoughts on them? Does that influence your decision at all?
Pence doesn't.
I don't.
Pence just feels like a guy that's just like kind of just sitting on the sidelines and just like, yeah, whatever I got to do.
Whatever mother says.
Yeah. All right. Sounds good.
Yeah. But I like, if it was Kamala versus, like, I like Kamala sort of like better than Biden because I just don't know if Biden's really capable.
Because she has a cognitive decline. Which both Trump
we don't know that for sure.
Well, I'm pretty sure Biden does, and
I don't know. A speech impediment. That's partly.
But you can look up his debates from 2016, and he's just like normally quicker and stuff.
I'm not making fun of the stutter. I'm just saying the guy's getting old, and it's pretty obvious. And Trump has the same problem. I'm saying they both got that problem, but with Biden, it's kind of more obvious because at least Trump owns it. Biden will say something, and the radio, and then just look defeated.
Okay, the radio.
Yeah.
When they invented the telephone,
yeah.
Anyway.
Johnny, who'd you vote for?
We all know. Again, I'm not really a big Biden guy either, and I'm not a Trump guy for sure. So I think I'm going Mr. West.
Woo! No, but you already voted. Who did you vote for?
No, I was going to base my vote off of what we just determined today. You never told us.
I mean, it's sort of skewed Biden, but I didn't ask all the questions.
No, I mean, I'm gonna end up voting for Biden. Or I did vote for Biden actually
in Arizona,
but no, California.
Actually, Johnny, you're back in Arizona right now because you're voting twice. You scamp.
You don't got to check my ID. No, I mean, it just, I don't know. I'm not I agree with everything you guys are saying. It's not, I was never 100% sold on him either, but I just can't, Trump just doesn't settle well with me. I just can't.
Yeah, Trump takes normal issues like border security and makes them incredibly divisive.
Or wearing a mask.
Right. Whoever thought that like wearing a mask would like literally make you like a Republican, and if you know what I mean, like he's wearing a mask, like you must be a liberal. It's like,
exactly.
No, dude, I just don't want to get sick. I don't know. I've never seen a country more divided than it's ever been. This is the most I've ever seen.
It's just kind of crazy how divided it is, and it's like there's division between like Republican, Democrat, white, black, elites versus regular people. It's crazy.
I was a Bernie guy, and actually I thought that Rogan brought up a good point because they did talk about in the Kanye one about Bernie briefly, and I like that he kind of mentioned too that like probably the reason that he actually the last two elections why he wasn't the guy was because he's so anti-capitalist. You know what I mean? These huge conglomerates and corporations are going to want a guy like that doesn't bend to the rules. You know
exactly.
what I mean?
And the RNC is as well, but like specifically, we remember the DNC, who specifically Bernie should have been, should have been Bernie Trump the first time, not Hillary. Nobody liked. Like
I think he might have won, man.
Because he was a populist too. Hillary was running on the last 8 years have been great. So I guess we're just going to do that some more. Nobody liked that. People wanted a populist with Obama. Obama ran as a populist progressive, served as a corporatist. Then people were still aching for that populist. So Bernie and Trump ended up getting it. Oh, we got Trump as a populist, but kind of, didn't live up to it.
Pseudo populist.
Well, I mean, he ran as populist, but yeah, exactly. Anyway, guys. That's it, right?
I mean, you guys don't care who I'm voting for?
No.
Who are you voting for? Nope. Internet money, bitch.
Yeah. Hey, guys, we're out of time, unfortunately. Find out the answer to that on our next podcast.
What? You're not going to give us the answer?
No, okay. I'm probably going to vote third party. If I was in a state that if I was in a state where my vote counts, California doesn't need another liberal vote. They're all going to give all
You
their
just want to throw your vote away? That's cool, man.
Oh, that's
if
not
I was
throwing
in
it away.
if I was in a state that was California's going Democrat. I think if I wasn't voting for somebody who I truly believed in, that would be a throwaway of my vote.
Yeah, throwing your vote away is you're throwing your vote away if you feel like you need to vote for who the mainstream media tells you these are only two options. You need to vote for one of these two. Throwing your vote away if you don't realize you can vote Kanye in.
You could definitely vote for. I would have loved a third party, but there wasn't. I mean, the reality is they're not going to win.
But I can't name you half their policies other than they're probably basically libertarian. But it's just sort of an FU to the system. I know it means nothing, but also another liberal vote in California means nothing to them. If I was in Ohio, I would vote Biden. I would vote Biden. But since I don't have to.
But today you're not going to, or tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm not.
And Biden is up in the polls, but it's just.
Do you really trust the polls though?
Well, exactly, because last time it was so clear how wrong they were because Trump.
Right. It was closer. It was closer last time.
It was closer, but it's just interesting. It's I think it's a huge enigma. Who's gonna be the victor?
What about Trump saying that no matter the results of the election, he's going to get his lawyers involved and make sure that they count everything again, and he's going to find a way to stay in office regardless of what happens?
That is anti-American. That's a pretty scary future.
Yeah, I don't like that.
Dictator?
Dictator much?
Maybe he didn't see the movie. Huh?
Exactly.
Huh?
I would love everybody listening right now to let us know your thoughts down below in the comments. And like always, we'll see you next time.